Sodium channels. So basically, for sodium channels, the gate is located on the outer end of the channel. So these are the gates which are present on the outer end of these channels. The gate closes the outer opening of the channel when the cell is at resting stage. So in case of resting stage, the membrane potential it is around -70 millivolt, जो कि nerve cells में होता है, और in case of muscles it is around -90 millivolt. In case of pacemaker tissue it is -50 millivolt. So when the cell is at the resting stage, that available potential is called resting membrane potential, and the gates are closes. But when the inside becomes less negative, the gates opens and sodium influx occurs that leads to first a formation of local responses and later then the generation of action potential, that is called depolarization. As we have discussed कि जब cell resting stage में है, then it is polarized, it is in polarized stage. But when the gates would open, and there would be sodium influx, and this would lead to the depolarization of the cell or cell membrane, and it is also called generation of action potential. For potassium channel, the gates is located on the inner end of the channel. So in case of potassium channel, जो gates हैं वो inner side में होते हैं. This it would be responsible for closing of these gates. But when the interior becomes less negative and approaches towards positivity, more and more gates open, and that would lead to potassium efflux. Potassium would move outside, and that would lead to repolarization of action potential. Sodium channels were responsible for depolarization, but the potassium channels are responsible for repolarization of the action potential. Ligand gated or chemically gated ion channels. So इन channels में basically कोई specific chemical compound like hormone और जो neurotransmitters हैं, these are called ligands, which causes opening or closing of these channels. So that's why these channels are called ligand gated channels. As a ligand is a chemical agent, the gating is also called chemically gated channels. कोई स्पेसिफिक जो केमिकल है वो इन गेट्स के इन चैनल्स के जो गेट्स हैं उनकी ओपनिंग और क्लोजिंग के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. So these channels are called ligand gated or chemically gated channels. Examples are nicotinic cholinergic receptor channel, which are present in post-synaptic neuromuscular junctions. The second one is the beta adrenergic receptor channels, which are present on smooth muscle cells, और जो नॉर एड्रेनलिन के एक्शन के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. Mechanically gated ion channels, the channels which are opened by some mechanical factors. Examples are pressure receptors, which are present in Pacinian corpuscles and the receptor cells of hair or hair cells of organ of Corti and vestibular apparatus. So basically हमने जो ion channels है उसमें तीन categories देखी. The first one was the voltage gated, जहाँ पे जो एक्शन जो पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस था मेम्ब्रेन में, वहाँ पे कुछ डिफरेंस और डिस्टर्बेंस क्रिएट होने की वजह से जो गेट था वो ओपन और क्लोज हो रहा था. आई मीन द गेट्स ऑफ द चैनल. एंड इन केस ऑफ सेकेंड इट वाज लाइगेंड गेटेड और केमिकली गेटेड आयन चैनल्स. उसमें कोई पर्टिकुलर मॉलिक्यूल जो है वो उस चैनल से अटैच होता था और उस आयन चैनल्स की ओपनिंग और क्लोजिंग के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल था. इट वाज आल्सो कॉल्ड केमिकली गेटेड चैनल. जो थर्ड कैटेगरी हमने देखी, इट इज मैकेनिकली गेटेड आयन चैनल. इसमें कोई मैकेनिकल स्टिमुलस होगा जो उस चैनल की ओपनिंग और क्लोजिंग के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. इसके जो बेसिक जो एग्जांपल्स हम देख रहे हैं, दीज आर प्रेशर रिसेप्टर्स. So in this pressure would be responsible for opening and closing of these channels. And the second example is the receptor cells or hair cells of organ of Corti and vestibular apparatus.